Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to my friend and colleague from West Vancouver, Capilano, for giving us a colourful and detailed history of the whole nature of developing the mining sector in British Columbia, as well as some of the very colourful characters involved in stock trading in that sector. Certainly, the mining sector, with all of its colourful ups and downs, all of its colourful characters, all of its booms and busts, and all of its, as the member himself pointed out, shady dealing, has contributed much to the development not only of British Columbia's economy, but the economy of the world in general and the development of the world in general. And certainly the nature and history of the Vancouver Stock Exchange and the trading of penny stocks and more highly valued stocks could, as the member from West Vancouver Capilano has said, be food for many, many hours of discussion. The member from West Vancouver Capilano talked about some of the tools that this government and other governments have introduced in tax policy to support investment in the mining sector, the flow-through tax credit. But I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about a new, perhaps not so new, but an emerging and continuing to develop sector in British Columbia that is very important, and that's the technology sector, which provides as many or more jobs than all of the resource industries, mining, forestry, oil and gas put together. And it has grown phenomenally over the last number of years, whether it's early stage venture capital, whether it's angel investors, whether it's the tremendous ingenuity and entrepreneurship of people who have built a significant tech hub in Vancouver. There are, however, some significant challenges facing this sector, and while the resource sector is, of course, very important to British Columbia, I think we also need to talk about what we can do today to address some of the barriers faced by this very important emerging tech sector in British Columbia. I'm going to read some references from a very recent article, August 2015, in the Globe and Mail that talked about some of the hurdles facing Vancouver and British Columbia's high-tech companies. There are now only 9 venture capital firms in BC, according to the Technology Industry Association, and that's down from 43 in 2002. The current level of approximately $300 million of angel and venture capital investments per year represents only about 0.03% of provincial GDP, which is only about a third of that is invested in the United States. The Technology Industry Association has repeatedly said that one of the key things that is holding back even more rapid expansion and development in terms of GDP and jobs of this sector is the lack of early-stage venture capital. They have said that British Columbia should find a way to take advantage of the federal government's $400 million venture capital action plan. Ontario has done that, other provinces have done that, and yet this government in British Columbia has yet to step up to the plate and put some money into a pot to access federal funds and create, as many have called for, a fund of funds, a regional fund of funds to invest in the technology sector in British Columbia. Honourable Speaker, in estimates, I've questioned the Finance Minister about that. He says he wasn't convinced the submissions put us on the right track, could guarantee that the money remained in BC, and yet the Finance Minister to date has not come up with the kind of plan that would actually access these federal funds and create the kind of venture capital pool that would invest in early stage companies in British Columbia, keep talent in British Columbia, and most importantly, keep companies in British Columbia who too often today sell out to American-owned companies and move south, taking jobs with them. Honourable Speaker, the economic impact analysis in the paper entitled Revitalizing Venture Capital in BC that was put forward a year ago to the Select Standing Committee on Finance by the Technology Industry Association pointed out 2 scenarios. One was a baseline scenario of slowly declining venture capital in British Columbia, and the other was assuming that venture capital in BC declines even further, which is the track it's on. Honourable Speaker, the difference is huge, both in terms of jobs and GDP.